Hello, it's me, Cubby, with another personal spin, aka review. Today I'm going to be ranking Opeth's albums in order of my least favourite to favourite. I would like to point out that Opeth are one of my favourite bands, and I have all of their albums except the newest two on vinyl and CD. That's how much I love them. Um, One day I will actually get the two newest albums on vinyl as well, or record as I call it. Um, However, I don't at the moment. Um, for this ranking, the first three albums I have in a special Japanese slipcase box set thing that's limited to 2000. So I don't have the first three original albums on separate disc. So I'll show the same box set for each thingy. I will be reviewing the albums individually in separate videos. So again, I will just sort of give a quick overview of why I've placed it there. The other thing I will say is that, as with all of my rankings, they're fluid. It's just how I feel at the moment. So, first up, we have Pale Communion. I like this album. There's some really good tracks on it, but for me, as with all of their post-heritage albums, I like it, but it's just missing. One of my favourite things about Opeth was the dynamic they had between the growling and that, and I'm sure it's the case with quite a lot of fans. And obviously that's missing on this. Still got the riffs, but without the dynamic, it's just not quite as entertaining. And I think out of the post-heritage albums, this is probably the least interesting for me. It's never really taken off with me. I've always struggled with it. I keep coming back to it, but I always sort of go, it was just a little bit missing something. But maybe that will change one day. Next up is their third album, My Arms Your Hearse, which is in this box set. It's a slipcase. The discs are loose, which is annoying. And the booklet's in Japanese. My Arms Your Hearse, I like. I like all of them. It's got Demon of the Fall on it, which is cool. But I don't know, something about it, nothing ever really, I don't know, it's just my least favourite of the original three albums. And I'm not really sure why. They just are. I'm not even sure where this should be placed, probably here. Right, next up we have their newest album, In Corda Venenum. I wanted to get the Swedish and English double CD version, but when I went into HMV to get it, they'd sold out. Really disappointed. And again, because they're one of my favourite bands, I didn't want to wait around for it to arrive by post. So I was like, do you know what, screw it. I'll just get whatever version they had. So I got the English version. Again, one day I might get the Swedish version as well, although the music's the same as far as I know. The first time I listened to it, I was a bit like, it's a bit overblown and a bit bit long and nothing really but again, like most Opeth albums, they take a while to sort of get into, and you have to listen to them a few times to really digest what's going on, stuff like that. And I have now. I like it. It's a really good like progressive rock album. It's still missing their dynamic of death growls, but that's one of those things. They're never going to go back, I don't think, which is fine by me. I still enjoy these, but one of the things that initially got me into Opeth was his growl combined with the singing and the jazzy bit. So you've got all of that, just minus the dynamic of really, really heavy riffs and growly vocals. They do have some heavy riffs, although not so much in this album. It's a really good album. I actually listened to it 3 times yesterday. But again, nothing has particularly stood in my head. Just an overall impression so far. Maybe I just need to listen to it more times. But nothing has stood out per se. But the overall impression, when I finish it, I'm like, that was good. So that's there. Next, we have Deliverance. I believe this is actually Mikkel Ockerfeldt's least favourite album. or at least it's got its least favourite song in it. It's got 2 or 3 really epically good songs in it. But for some reason at the moment, I'm not feeling it as much as I usually do. It's a very dark album. You can't really see. Master's Apprentices has got some of the best riffage ever, which is the sort of thing it's missing from their newer albums. And also the End of Deliverance, obviously. Those 2 things alone make up the album, really. But yeah, it's all right. They've done better though. Next we have Watershed. This is really good because they've got a song with blast beats and singing over the top, which is not something you really hear, or at least it wasn't at the time. And also on the back cover, the song Lotus Eater is spelled Louts Eater. Maybe that means this copy will be worth loads of money in like 50 years time. I doubt it, but who knows. I wonder if it says it on... No, it says it right on the disc. I really like it. I love the guest vocals. I can't remember who they're by on Coil. Again, the thing with Opeth is it's all quality over quantity. Most albums have only got sort of 7 songs on. They're all really good. Some of them are perhaps a little bit too long. But again, Burden is I can never remember. One of the songs they do this thing where they're playing and they detune the guitar as they do it, and that's really cool. I can't remember. I haven't listened to this album for a little while actually. Porcelain Heart's really good as well. Really, really good album, but not my favourite. Next up, we're back to this box set again, is Orchid. I really like it, but the songs are a little bit bitty, and I will mention the earlier albums with Opeth. A lot of people never mention. They always say death metal. I've always found that the earlier albums sound much more black metal-y than death metal-y. The screeches are screaming, roaring, whatever you call it, much higher pitched. There's a lot more of a sort of a thinner production, stuff like that. I really like Orchid. I learnt most of the songs on my bass guitar actually, but the songs are quite bitty. They sort of just like flip and flop all over the place, and so it feel a little bit disjointed at times. Oh, excuse me. And then the same with Morning Rise, but Morning Rise has got Black Rose Immortal on it, which I love, even though it's 20 minutes long. So yeah, really good. This is a great little box set. I picked it up for £9. It's not in the best condition anymore because I use it a lot, but I since found out that it was limited to 2,000 copies, or this version is anyway. So that's pretty cool. A little bit of random information for you. So next up we have Damnation, the first cool album. I'm going to call it cool, not cool as in like sunglasses and cool, but I mean like cool as in chilled album. Really love the guitar playing on this album and the bass playing, and just everything about it is really good. I used to fall asleep to this album on a daily basis or nightly basis. It's just so good, and I suppose in hindsight it was like a this is where Opeth will go eventually type of album. But it's really cool, except for the doll on the front, kind of scares me. Next up we have Sorceress. I was really impressed with this album when I first heard it, and it's only grown on me more as I listen to it. I like the production, I like the songs, I like the playing, pretty much everything about it, which is making me wonder why I still haven't bought it on vinyl. Again, the only thing missing is that dynamic. It's kind of one of the things that, for me anyway, made Opeth, and I don't mind bands like changing. In fact, I applaud it, which is why I still collect their albums and I still enjoy them. But I do really miss that dynamic. I wish they could work out a way of putting in a similar kind of dynamic. I mean, they sort of try, but the heavy riffs on these albums just aren't as heavy as the old albums. But that doesn't mean it's bad. It's still really good. This one has a tendency to go a bit like noodly at times, which is something that Opeth never really did. But it's good. It's good. Next, we have Heritage. Again, another album I really, really like. I particularly like I Feel the Dark. That guitar riff is really good. Devil's Orchid is good. Slither is good. Famine, Nepenthe, Hack's Process. Pretty much the whole album is really, really good. And this particular version has a DVD with it. I can't remember if I bought this one on vinyl or not. I think I did, but I'm not sure. Oh, I think I did. I'll have to check in my vinyl box, which is over there and full of vinyl. I don't really use my vinyl because my turntable is downstairs, and yeah. So, but yeah, no, it's a really, really good album. Again, it's the first one without any growling or anything like that. It was the first major change. And you know, kudos to Opeth for doing it, because I think they lost quite a lot of fans. I think they've gained quite a lot of new fans and converted some of their old fans who probably initially went, ugh. But when I put this on, I was like, oh, it's amazing. And it was only a bit later that I sort of went, I kind of miss the growls. But it's not even just the growls, it's the dynamic between the growls, which I'll get to in a minute. My next favourite album is Still Life. I really struggled with these last three albums. I love these last three albums. They're all masterpieces in my book. Actually, I think Heritage might be a masterpiece as well. Maybe just shy. Face of Melinda, Benighted are fucking amazing. The More is friggin' fantastic. There you go. That's a good example of the dynamic that they don't really have in their newer stuff. There's a bit where it goes quiet and then it comes in and it's really like, and Michael just growls like a demon. It's so good. That one tiny bit makes the whole song, all 11 minutes of it, so good, especially as you know why he does that. Not only that, artwork is really good. Next up, I chose this time round anyway, Blackwater Park, mixed by Stephen Wilson and produced by Stephen Wilson. It's got Leper Affinity, Bleak, Harvest, The Drapery Falls, Dirge for November, or Dirge, sorry. Funeral Portrait is I think it's Funeral Portrait is the only song on it that's sort of, you know, and then Blackwater Park itself. Dirge for November, I love it because it's so like discordant all the way through. It's like, and it goes on and on and on, and then it just stops and ends with the most beautiful guitar playing ever. And it's things like that for me that make Opeth that's missing in their newer albums. But again, you know, I try not to focus on that because they're such great musicians and they make such great music and they're trying something new. You know, if you played Blackwater Park every day for like 20 years, you'd be bored of it too. So, you know. Anyway, and last but not least is Ghost Referees. This was probably my favourite album because it's the first one I ever got. I love it. I just absolutely love it. My only complaint actually is the bass is mixed just a little bit too quietly. It's just a little bit too quiet. But otherwise, fantastic. Brilliant, brilliant album. So good. And there you go. That is my Opeth album ranking. I will be reviewing all the albums individually in time. But for now, thank you for watching. If you like my videos, please like and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram under Cubby Stevenson. Thank you for watching. I have been Cubby, and this has been my personal spin. Thank you very much.